Okay, so this bass hack video is going to be about dialogue and timing issues and audio delay. Okay, so welcome to my descent into madness. And I think there's a lot of people that have this exact same problem. In doing some research and looking on forums and things like that, it can be a very maddening thing. And I have to give props to a couple of different things that helped me finally nail this down to where I felt good about finding it. There are some things I'm good at, okay, and there are some things that I'm terrible at. And up to this point recently, getting the audio timing right was something I considered I was very bad about because it was never right. And talk about endless frustration. Endless frustration. I could never get the dialogue timing right, and it was driving me up the wall. I cannot express the level of frustration, because when I see something like that and it's off, it messes with my anyway. I don't know if you can tell. It's been a point of frustration, and I have to give props to the Eagles. They don't have anything to do with this video or anything like that, but Hell Freezes Over and the Farewell One tour. I've tried doing it with several other music discs and still never got there, because they changed. I don't know. If you watch the thing, they say they loiter on stage because they're more focused on the actual music. Thanks to that loitering and not jumping around and having all this action flashing, I mean, they do have it, but it's not craziness, right? Because of that, I'm able to watch it and watch, the singing and the drums and all of that together and get the timing right. But still, I was having an issue. They have a millisecond delay, and on the, I've got the Marantz SR7012 there, and I've got the Denon X6200 there. Both of them have delays in them. And the delay in them, the Denon went up to either 200 or 400 milliseconds. I don't know, I can't remember at the moment, but the Marantz has up to a 500 millisecond delay. Now, what prompted me to make this video is I had the Eagles in there, and on the Sony Blu-ray player, it also has a delay. However, those delay, I guess you'd call them, the adjustment points. So they're like, they're in a bigger segment. So instead of adjusting by a millisecond at a time, so you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 milliseconds, okay, it goes, I think it goes from like 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 to all the way up to 120 or 140 or something like that. And that larger separation is what allowed me to finally get it, okay? I found that with those particular discs, in this particular Blu-ray player, in my particular setup, that I had to go all the way over to 100 and either 120 or 130 millisecond delay to get it right. And finally, I was watching the movie and watching the concert, and finally the snare drum was hitting just right. Finally, the vocals were syncing up to what they were actually doing. The guitar was syncing up. It was all correct. And I'm like, this can't be this hard, can it? And it was. So what I did was I put the Sony Blu-ray player back to 0 delay, and then I put it back on the amplifier and brought that up to about 130, 135, and it can vary between discs and things like that. But what I found was that by setting the delay at about 130 on the AVR, or 140, somewhere around there, that just happens to be for me, by doing that, everything that I ran through the Blu-ray player was correct, including things from Netflix, things from YouTube and things like that. Everything was syncing up when I was coming from the Blu-ray player going directly to the amplifier. So that was great. Now, you can go ahead and follow your own descent into madness by figuring out the TV delay using your smart apps that go across the ARC into the AVR. That's another point of madness there, because it goes both ways. You can go delay or advance. So you know, I don't know. You're probably going to be mad at me for making this video because I'm probably pointing something out that you were kind of missing before, and now it's just going to be another point of frustration. But maybe that 130 to 140 millisecond delay might work for you. Maybe it gets you in the ballpark of being able to get it adjusted right, or at least adjusted closer. But I really have to point out the Eagles discs in particular as far as the ease of getting everything to line up and get it right in my brain, because I wasn't able to do it prior to that. So that's something I'm terrible at. It's something that took me way too long to figure out, okay? So if it's taken you a long time and you haven't found the answer, don't feel bad. Again, madness right here. I was watching Blu-ray movies and I would adjust it. I would try like adding 12 milliseconds. Now that I know where the right point is, no wonder I was driving myself mad. I was trying to adjust it 1 millisecond at a time when I needed to be adjusting it like 10 milliseconds or 20 milliseconds at a time to actually get to a point where everything lined up. There's also the auto sync method that's in the AVR that helps, and maybe it doesn't, you know. Even with the auto on, I still had to do that millisecond delay. So again, in some of the forum conversations I've seen on it, this is a pretty common issue for people, and a lot of people are really frustrated with it, myself included. But I finally got it right, and watching those Eagles concerts and having everything line up just right, you see the drumsticks going and it makes sense. It makes sense in your brain. It's not distracting you because it's just a little bit off. It's all jiving. And when I finally got that done the other night, I was just like, yay, I got it done. I finally got there. I finally got to the point where I was happy with it. It made sense. It was not driving me crazy. So, you know, the big takeaway for me was understanding that it had to be more than just 1 or 2 milliseconds at a time. You got to do that bigger jump to really find, you know, at least a point to where you can index, and then, you know, you can adjust it a little bit here and there. But man, it broke my brain a couple times. I just gave up and walked away. That's how frustrating this can get, and that's how frustrating it was for me. But now that I've got it, it's a lot more fun watching these concerts and movies. Movies, people are talking and it's making sense. They're not speaking too soon or anything like that. Anyway, so that was just my little frustrating video on audio sync and audio delay and all that stuff. It really, I don't know, I've been doing this for a little bit, and it's not like I just started yesterday. I finally got to a point where it made sense. So hopefully this video helps you. Hopefully it doesn't drive you too insane. Hopefully it'll help you get things right instead of being frustrated with trying to get the audio delay set right. So anyway, again, thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned. I've got some other cool things coming together. Things are going pretty well on the channel, and again, I have my viewers to thank, so I'm very appreciative. If you haven't subscribed already yet, please hit the subscription button, hit the bell. When I have, when there are things that come up that are time sensitive, very handy to have it actually come up in your feed rather than come back 6 months later and see a bunch of things you missed. It happens for me with other channels. So please hit the subscribe button, please hit the bell so you can get notified when I got new stuff coming out. But again, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate all the comments, the likes, the dislikes, all of it. It's all good, it's all engagement. It tells me what I need to know. So again, thank you so much, and please subscribe.